Hi, I'm Eileen. I'm an alcoholic. Hi. I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is July 15th, 1992. And I was going to try and post this at 29 days, but that's not good. My sponsor, Linda, said, just be honest. I was like, I still have to be reminded. But anyway, I'm grateful to be here. This is my first time here at your reader group. And I am so happy to see Lorraine and Alan here. I love them to pieces. And but 15 minutes is quick. I got to Alcoholics Anonymous with the four horsemen riding with me, right? Terror, bewilderment, frustration, despair, and hopelessness, and fear, and terror. And I got here because somebody else, a coworker, who I thought at the time had been sober for a very long time. She was sober less than a year. And she'd been 12-stepping me for months and months and months. And when I was finally ready, I called her on a Sunday night, hysterical, crying. I just couldn't do another Monday. I was just going to either kill myself or just not go to work. No, I just couldn't face it. And she says, Eileen, I asked her to tell me exactly what was wrong with me because I didn't trust myself. I just felt crazy. That's what I thought was wrong with me. I was just crazy. And I said, I will do anything you ask me to do, but just please tell me what. She says, Eileen, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I'm going to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous tomorrow. If you'd like to go, I'll take you. What a gentle invitation to Alcoholics Anonymous, to the transformation of a life that was winking out, right? And my surrender was a simple, okay, with tears. And I hung up the phone and she said, take a bath, go to bed. Just do that. Do you think you cannot drink between now and tomorrow night? And I said, I think so. Because I didn't know. You know, I suffer from an allergy of the body and an obsessive mind. And that combination of things, plus I believe a deep soul sickness, was killing me. And it was, you know, at the end of a long drinking period. I drank for over 25 years. And I never suspected that I was an alcoholic because alcohol had always given me the ease and comfort it talks about in the doctor's opinion that could soothe what was wrong with me. And there was so much wrong with me. And, you know, that's the second part of the first step. But the first part is that I couldn't stop drinking once I took the first drink. There was always that second drink, the first drink, the second drink, and then it was on. And I couldn't predict and I couldn't control. And I tried and tried. I tried changing, and, you know, there's a lot of information in our literature about what we do when we're trying to manage and control. Move. You know, I'm a runner and a liar and a quitter, and I am a thief, and I am terrified in all those positions. Our literature says we are driven by 100 forms of fear and self-delusion. And I began practicing fear and self-delusion in kindergarten. They had to go get my brother out of second grade because I was hysterical. I was like, oh my God, kindergarten. You know, what an order, I can't go through with it. And, you know, and my brother had to come and sit with me. And this is, you know, I believe I was born with this disease, and it was, I was rocketed into a fourth dimension by the time I got my first drunk on. I was just taken to a place I'd always wanted to be, which was comfortable in my own skin. That's what alcohol did for me. It took away all my worry. It took away my fear. And it took away all my inhibitions about you. I stopped thinking about what you were thinking about me because I was convinced I was the psychic, that I knew what you were thinking about me. And so I could pre-hate you, you know, because I knew what you were thinking about me was not kind or good. And this was like second grade. You know, I mean, I was just tortured as a human being. And when I found alcohol, I just went, oh, thank God. thank God. But by the time I was 37 years old, the dream had worn thin. And it wasn't relieving me of the bondage of self any longer. It was torturing me even further because my body was beginning to break down. And I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't do things. My handwriting was shot because my hands shook so much when I went to work. I couldn't work 5 days a week. I could work maybe 3, 2.5, 3 days because, by bits and pieces, the whole length of my sobriety, I had been surrendering my life to alcohol. My peace of mind, my family relationships, my personal relationships, I surrendered everything to alcohol. I surrendered my ability to think clearly, to be compassionate, understanding, willing. I became restricted in all areas of my life. And it was just torturous. That's why I love the Four Horsemen, because terror was every day. Bewilderment, I never knew what was going on. I had to fake it all the time. Frustration, nothing happened the way I wanted it to. You never behaved yourselves the way I thought you should. And I didn't even behave the way I thought I should. So there was incomprehensible demoralization, and there was shame. And what I heard from my friend and my coworker was hope, was transformation, was a way out of the nightmare that I was living. And I wanted what she had. And so she brought me to my first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, and she continued to take me. And within my first few days in Alcoholics Anonymous, I had a sponsor, I had a big book, I had a 12 and 12. And in my big book, I wrote my name in pen and my sobriety date. And I wrote it on the hard part of the book. And she told me that that was important. She goes, if you want to stay sober, write it on the hard page of the book. And I began this incredible journey. 29 years. It's like, oh my God, I am so not the person that I was when I first showed up here. And the only reason that I've been able to grow in effectiveness and understanding in my own life, and hopefully in the lives of other people, is because I learned how to follow direction. First in the big book, then from my friend Annie, and then from my sponsor. And those wise people that came into my life when there was trouble and I needed direction. And so I have remained teachable in these 29 years. And I have worked the steps, and I continue to work the steps. And I work with others, which is, my husband is also sober in the program. He has 9 months on me, which is like, no. But for 3 months, we're even, right? Shoulder to shoulder and all that. But we were talking about last night, because we were at a meeting, and we were talking about sponsorship, and I sometimes wonder why I get to sponsor so many people. And my husband was kidding with me, and he goes, because you still need that much more help. Because I get so much from sponsoring, from going through the big book, from helping somebody understand the traditions, from learning about our culture and the little things that are never written down anywhere in all of AA, which is like, come into AA, sit all the way down, give it 100%. That is your chair. Don't let anyone push you out of it. Like, that's not written down, but those were what old timers told me in my first month of sobriety. And nobody can kick me out of my chair. I'm here for the duration. And it was kind of like, it's kind of like the beauty of finding that you can have a relationship with a power greater than yourself. If, like AA teaches us, we invite God in. We invite newcomers to come with us. We don't talk down to them. We don't come from a lofty hilltop. We're just equals, right? We're just trying to help them get what we have gotten. Yeah. And so the story continues. You know, there are always challenges, and that's why, in our literature talks so much about this is a design for living. And it doesn't say perfect living. It doesn't say everything is going to come true living. It says living. Whatever life brings you, you're going to be able to do it without drinking. And I've done a lot of stuff that's been hard and painful, and I have not drank. And I've done a lot of fun stuff, like get married, move, go on all these wonderful places all over the world, and because we love traveling. And, I get it all. It's like this big banquet table. And they say, pull your chair up and stay there. And I have. And one of the other reasons that I love to sponsor so much is because newcomers remind me of me. And they remind me of the journey that's ahead and how important it is not to get locked in on really tiny things. But remember, it's a long story. This isn't going to be the first or the last time you're going to do the steps. There's always more to learn, and there are no big deals. And I felt, when I got here, I felt like everything was a big deal. Getting my laundry done was a big deal, or not getting it done. That was the dilemma. And, how was I going to be able to smoke enough during the day so I could manage to go to sleep at night? Because I was a chain smoker, and I loved to smoke, and we could smoke in all our meetings. So I had my sobriety station with my chair and a coffee cup and an extra empty one for the sunflower seeds. I always brought a new bag of sunflower seeds, and I was chain smoking, eating sunflower seeds, and drinking coffee at my sobriety station. But you know what? It kept me in my chair, and I used to get to meetings when I was new, and I'd be so tired from working and being sober. Sober is hard when you haven't been sober in 25 years. And I would complain to my sponsor. It's like, I'm so tired. I really need a couple nights off just so I can go to bed early. And she goes, oh no, honey, you can sleep in meetings. It's okay. And I was like, there is just no arguing with this woman. And what I did learn, there was this great meeting in Los Angeles at Ohio Avenue. And it was warm and cozy, and we were just mashed in like clams. And I would fall asleep. And then I'd wake up 15 minutes later, refreshed. It was like I could hardly wait for the break so I could drink more coffee. I smoked 5 cigarettes on the break. And get back to my seat for the main speaker. And I love it. And what ended up occurring in a very short length of time was I fell in love with Alcoholics Anonymous. I fell in love with what all you guys were showing me how to live sober. And one of the greatest things that I've learned was that if I wanted to feel better, I needed to help you. I don't work on those problems. God works on them. If I help you, then God will make everything else okay. And it will turn out all right. And when I give to you, I get in return fivefold. And that was completely true in my sobriety over and over and over again, where if I remembered that my job was to dovetail my will into God's will. I wasn't supposed to, squish God, get the list out and go, here, God, here's my list of what I want. It was finding out what God wants for me. And what God wants for me so far is for me to help other people. And to be less concerned about myself. Over and over. The story has not changed in my entire sobriety. It's like help others, clean house, trust God. And that is true. It's that thing where I didn't know that I could have a relationship that is embodied in the 11th step. And my interpretation of that is it says, we improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him. And so my interpretation of it is if I'm conscious, I should be walking with God. But my job is to provide a fresh invitation every day for God to come in and show me what to do. Help me, guide me. My shortest prayer, best prayer, is God, guide me and direct me in thought, word, and action. And I have said that prayer for a very, very long time before I go into meetings, before I try not to argue with my husband because I'm right. And, in a million different ways, I have to get God out in front of me. And one of the most vital things, oops, I'm out of time. Oh, I like it. I left it on a cliffhanger. But one of the greatest things exercises my sponsor ever gave me when I was in my first year was she said, in order to have God with you all day long, every time you touch a door, to open it, to shut it, to pull a drawer, to go to the bathroom, because I worked in a big place, she goes, invite God to go ahead of you. Before you get in your car, hold the door for just a nanosecond and invite God to go with you and go before you. And I practiced and I practiced. And I found out that God can be with me if I invite him. Thanks.